Yo, this is the first episode to the Let Me Talk to You podcast. I'm more than excited for this to get started and this journey to begin. My first guest that's going to be coming on the show, I couldn't have picked a better one. It's Jimmy Lane Mooney. He is the former sheriff of Orange County in Texas, baby. Yes. He's a husband. He's a father. He is one of the most resilient people I've ever met in my life. Every battle I've seen him go through, he came out shining on the other end, and that's a warrior to me, baby. That's what he is. He also is the owner over Mooney Jiu-Jitsu in Vidor, Texas. And when I say them guys are badass, I'm not overreacting at all. They are. I think the easiest part's walking in the door. The hardest part is when somebody's about to choke you out. So I'm excited to get him in here. I know people are kind of wondering what his future is going to hold after the election that just passed. But I got news for you. Bigger things are coming, and I cannot be excited enough to let you guys know what's going on. So thank you for listening, and enjoy the show.
$5 steak on a $20 grill. I can't help but feeling like the king of the hill. The grass is kinda high, but it's under control. And right now, I ain't in the mood to mow. I'm gonna thank the good Lord as the sun goes down for another day above the ground. Well, I ain't at the top, but I ain't at the bottom. Being in the middle for me ain't a problem. As a matter of fact, where I'm at really ain't too bad at all. I know I ain't got every little thing I want, but I got everything I need. And that's a pretty good place to be.
We good? We're rolling? All right, you guys, this is Mr. Jimmy Lane Mooney. He is the current sheriff for Orange County in Texas. Arguably one of the best sheriffs we've ever had. I'm happy to have him on the show today. How you doing today, Mr. Mooney?
I'm doing really good, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we've been planning on doing this for, 2 or 3 months almost, I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe, not longer.
You know, at first, when I went to start this, it was more of a mental health group. I was going to do a men's mental health thing because I don't think it's spoke about very much. But I started thinking how irresponsible most of us are, and who can make a meeting every Wednesday after work, right?
There you go.
So I was like, what better way to do it than start a podcast and just hope for the best, you know?
Right.
So how's your life going?
Going good. Going really good. I just got off the water a little while ago. Went out offshore. We left out about 3 o'clock this morning and just got in. Life is going good. Couldn't ask for it to be going any better.
Man, that's good. That's great to hear. So what'd you catch? Did you catch it?
We did. We caught some red snapper. Caught a 6-foot shark, a few other saltwater species out there. But we had a great time. I was out there with my brother, Darren Mooney, and then my cousin, Aubrey Eves. We were out about 80 miles offshore.
Oh, wow.
Today, so.
I think the water brings solace to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're working offshore for 21 days at a time. I think the view looks good for about 2 hours, and you're like, man, I want to go home.
Ready to get to the house.
Ready to get to the house. So I bet you it's great to have the accessibility just to get back home when you want to.
Yeah, it's a hard ride out there and a hard ride back. So.
Yeah, I seen your post. I was a little nervous because I seen the storm coming,
right.
And I was like, well, it's fitting a white cap on him. I know that much.
Oh, yeah.
The white caps come before the rain, and once the rain gets there, you better hurry and do everything you got to do.
Yeah. We beat it in, thank goodness.
So, I'm happy to still have you as our sheriff. I know since I met you, you've always been there for me, regardless of my history, and I'm just so appreciative for you. Contrary to believe, even though I was doing the craziest things as a child, you never gave up on me. You just always used I got you moments, right? And that meant so much to me in my life because in a lot of times in life I didn't have that. So I just want to start this podcast off by saying thank you, and I'm going to give you your flowers that you deserve. You've earned it, and you deserve it, and everything that comes in the future, you deserve that too.
Well, I tell you what, you've already paid me back. I don't ask you to pay me anything. Look at you now.
Yes, sir.
That's what makes me happy. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm honored to be here today because of that.
Man.
You made a life-changing change in your life, and, man, I'm so proud of you.
Man, that means a lot. It really does, especially coming from you.
Oh, well,
You
hey,
know.
I'm nobody. I'm just a no-fighter boy.
You're somebody of a nobody. All right, we'll agree to disagree. Yeah, I was excited to see that commercial that you made where you were out in your, I guess that was your house?
Oh, yeah, sure did for the election.
Yep, for the campaign.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, I had a great group of guys that come out and shot that video footage, put it together for us. Man, just had a great time doing it. Took about 5 days.
You wouldn't even expect it, but it
Oh,
did.
man, let me tell you, it was tough. It was really hard. So.
You almost look like the new Yellowstone. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know about all that, but yeah, we had a great time doing it, and you know, it was something my wife and I did, and she's not a real public person, and she was you know, she did do that, so she said, yeah, I'd love to do it. So I was kind of shocked that she did.
Yeah,
you know?
that was cool. I was excited for you. I think most people were. You know, so it just looked really, really good. Yeah. So what's next? I mean, I think everybody's wondering the same thing. What's next?
Well, you know, I got a lot of things. I got my hands in a lot of things, you know, so I really don't know right now what I'm going to do. You know, I just went through real estate school. I got my real estate license,
yes,
so I'm probably going to venture into that.
Okay.
You know, my son and I, we own a jiu-jitsu academy over in Vidor, Texas. It's called Mooney Boys Jiu-Jitsu. We've been over there about 12 years. So I still got my hand in that a little bit. You know, I still train a little bit, but I don't like getting hit in the face anymore, so I don't compete or anything. But I got a lot of things that I do. So, man, I'm just going to enjoy life.
You should. You deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve it. You and your wife both deserve to finally, you know, live out these years that you have left and just be grateful for everything that's happened in the past. I can't wait to get to your age and look back and think that I did something positive, you know. Right. I was listening to a podcast the other day. I'm not sure whose it was because there's a variety of guys I listen to. But this guy was talking about an older man, and he said he asked this old man how he felt. He had just turned 90. He said, well, I'm in the bottom of the ninth. Wow. You know, and, like, that's a very powerful statement. It's really loose, it's firm, but it's fair. And I really think that a lot of people should look at it that way. Right. Some things just kind of stick out to me, and I'll remember for the rest of my life. Yeah. You know,
that's powerful.
I can remember whenever I was in Vidor and I was in the stages of just like not caring about anything after my grandma passed. Like I felt like death was the answer. Like I would just do whatever I could to make sure I wasn't succeeding, and that's a terrible place to be. But I could just remember walking down Main Street and you stopping. Yeah. You know, and it wasn't for a warrant check. Right. It was, you good? Yeah, I'm good, my nanny. See you later. You know, it could have very easily went the other way, and you never did that to me, and I really appreciate it. A lot of guys, they just were there for me when it came to that because they knew that I had the potential. I just wasn't using it. I always let grief and circumstances defeat me, and now I'm at a point in my life where I'm never going to let that happen again. And I think you're in the same place too.
Oh yeah. I've, you know, I made, you know, going through this election, it's been an eye-opening experience. This is my third election to go through. But yeah, I mean, we got through it, and we survived. You know, so we're still here. So, but it's not the end for me. It may be the end of my law enforcement career. Full-time law enforcement, I'm still going to be a police officer. A friend of mine won the constable position over in Precinct 4 here in Orange County, and so I'm going to be a reserve deputy under him. And you know, I'm still going to have my hand in law enforcement. Yeah. You know, still want to serve the community in that capacity. But you know, I'm going to enjoy. I've been doing this 36 years, and I'm ready to get out and enjoy my family. Yeah. You know, and my mom and dad's still alive, and they're still here, so I want to spend, you know, more time with them too. So.
Ain't that a blessing to have both your mom and dad?
Man, I tell you, I'm so fortunate. You know, a lot of my friends and you know, a lot of my friends, they've lost both their parents. You know, and it's, and man, I'm so fortunate just to have my mom and dad. They've always been there for me, even in my tough times when I was a young man. And man, they've pushed me to be a better person. You know, and you know, I turned out okay.
You did. You turned out more than okay. So, and speaking of your family, gosh, you got a good one. Your son Marshall. If the people don't know, I've been trying to do the jiu-jitsu thing, you know, and Mr. Lane Mooney took care of me on that behalf. I bought myself a gi. I had no clue what a gi was. That's a weapon for somebody else.
Oh yeah, definitely is.
They will tug and pull on you in ways that you never thought you could be tugged and pulled on.
Well, choke you out with your clothing. You know.
I thought it was cool. I put it on and I was like, oh man, I'm a beast, dude. I was like Goku from Dragon Ball, and now I'm over here like, man, dude, I just gave these guys another weapon to kill me.
Right.
You know, and I talked to a couple of the guys as well. My schedule's so weird, you know, with my work, so it's hard for me to make every time. But every time I do go, I try to get the most out of it, and I'm so appreciative to that. In 12 years, man, God, give yourself a round of applause, you know,
Thank you.
because that's a long time to keep a business running.
It is, you know, and I'm fortunate that building we're in now. My wife and I bought that piece of property back years ago, and we built that building that's on it.
Yeah.
And we ran a business out of that for many years, and I ended up selling it to my dad, and he kept it in the family, and so we were in the process of buying it back from my dad. So
And expanding.
yeah, and expanding, yeah. So everything's going great, man.
I'm not even gonna lie, man. When I went in there, I signed the waivers, obviously, like you would anywhere else. You know, didn't even.
Well, you
read.
need a waiver when you climb up here.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, and I was like, well, I didn't even read it. I'm guilty of that. I just agreed to the terms, and then I'll deal with the consequences in the end.
Right.
But I remember signing it, and I remember going in there, and it felt good. And about 10 minutes later, it was 95 degrees. And I remember asking Marshall, like, why is it so hot in here? And he's
I'm
like,
going to tell you a story about that if you got a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
We started training with a guy, Pat Hawk Hardy. Used to be a prosecutor over in Jasper County. And he brought jiu-jitsu to Southeast Texas. And he had a jiu-jitsu gym in the top of a flower shop.
wow.
Over in Silsbee, Texas. So that's where we got started in our jiu-jitsu career. And so we would train over there. There was no air condition. There was no heat. And let me tell you, it was brutal conditions over there. You had to be a tough guy to train over there, or you didn't train there.
Yeah.
You know? And so, man, we'd be up there training, and it'd be 100 degrees in the top of that second-story building. And so when we opened up our own gym, what we do is, after the kids' class, what we do is we turn the heater on. And we'll kick it up to 99 degrees.
Oh, yes.
And you felt it.
I know.
And let me tell you what, it'll bring all the impurities out of your system. But, yeah, it builds stamina, it builds endurance, and it taxes your body, your lungs, you know. And so we brought that with us from Silsbee, Texas, over here to Vidor, Texas. And, you know.
That's another one of the things. You know, something small means so much in the long run.
Right.
You know, yeah, I believe it. I was hot. And then, you know, I didn't know what I was doing at all, which didn't help at all. But Marshall's so good at explaining. I'm just so grateful for you guys. Your whole family, man. Y'all just always have been there for me. And not only is the heat the factor, in UFC they have, you know, in the main event it to be 5 rounds for, what, is it 5 minutes, I believe?
Yeah, five
Y'all do it for 7.
We do what's called 10-round Tuesday.
Yeah.
And what you do is you come in on Tuesday night. It's no gi, where you're wearing just fight shorts, you know, and a rash guard or whatever. And then you have to come in and you do 10 7-minute rounds. And between the 7-minute rounds, it's like a 30-second
Ain't
break.
much.
It's not much. And let me tell you, a lot of people go outside and lose their lunch.
Yeah.
You know, so I've done it myself a couple of times, but yeah, it's tough training. It's hard, but I tell you what, when you walk out of there, you know you put in the work.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I wish it was a little earlier in the day. It's just, because it was just like with my kids and with my wife. I just want to be there every day. And that's the first thing I asked my wife when I signed up for it. I was, are you prepared for me to be gone every night? Because that's what it is.
Yeah, it's every night, 5 nights a week, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday.
But Marshall told me within the year, if I continue to come and I continue to grow, that he could see me competing one day, you know, and it may be a year, it may be 2 years. I just need to get the concept grasped down. I think for me, I overthink things. So whenever they're showing me several different positions,
I don't believe I'm learning it the right way because I don't want to learn a bunch of stuff at one time. I want to learn one thing and master it 1,000, and then I'll come back and try to learn something new. I think what I grasped out of it was defense, cardio. Those two things are, to me, in that situation, was the most important at that time. Because if you can sit there and let this guy that's obviously done this for a while put you in these difficult positions, if you can fight your way out of that, you're valuable already. And then you start learning moves, and that's even better. I think Bruce Lee said it, if I'm not wrong. He said you can learn 1,000 moves and not do nothing, but you can learn one and do it 1,000 times, and you can be a master. I firmly believe that.
Yeah. And the one move that you learned was the tap out.
Yeah.
And you're going to use it a lot.
Yeah.
And I still use it, so.
It's like origami almost. It's insane to me. Like, you see these two guys, this guy's got him, and then all of a sudden, like, whoop. Here you are.
Right.
You don't know what to do with yourself,
Yeah, it's good stuff. Human chess match is what they call it. So.
You definitely got to swallow your pride in there too.
Well, and that's what we tell people when you come in. Check your ego at the door. Ego has no place in there.
It doesn't.
Because you'll be humbled. I mean, it's a humbling experience. Being a police officer, and it's hard to get police officers to come in the door over there, right?
Yeah.
And so I've brought police officers in before, and when a 14-year-old kid is tapping you out, and you're a big strapping grown man, and this 14-year-old girl is tapping you out, it's a humbling experience. I promise you. Yeah.
It definitely is.
But here's on the other side of that too is being a police officer. You need to learn a skill where you can protect yourself out there, because if this 14-year-old kid has a little skill, and they're tapping you out, and you're out here in the real world, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you need some skill. You need to be able to protect yourself out there.
I think that's probably worked out in your favor a lot.
Oh, it has. I'll tell you, it's really saved my ass a couple of times out there.
Yeah. So I want to ask, since we're on the police officer, what's some of the craziest stuff you've seen out there, man? And I don't want to, go like horrific or whatever, but this is my show. I can let people hear whatever we want to hear. So just,
Sure.
I would love to know, like, what are some of the scenes that you walked up on and you were like, God, I'll never forget this.
Man, there's been so many. I've been doing this 36 years.
Yeah.
And you think, man, I've seen everything.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, I mean, you'll see something and say, man, I thought I've seen everything. But I've seen just about all. I've seen some crazy stuff out there. I've seen some really horrific things, and those things you can't wash out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
The bad things, and especially with children dying, things of that nature. It's just, man, it's tough. It's really hard, and you just can't wash that away. I've seen some bad things out there, but some good things. I've seen a lot of good stuff. I've seen people turn their lives around.
Yeah.
And I have people come into my office all the time, and they say, hey, Mr. Mooney, if you wouldn't have put me in jail or put me in prison and, all this, I wouldn't be standing here today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. And that's part of your character. I love it.
I've got one thing. It's kind of sick, but I'll throw it out there. I always get a chuckle out of this. But we ended up, I used to work narcotics. That was my forte, I guess.
Yeah.
We ended up arresting a guy out on the interstate one night. He had a bunch of drugs in a motorhome, And so inside the motorhome, you had this shower in there, right? And so we're having to do an inventory of this motorhome.
Yeah.
And so we're going through it, looking for, itemizing everything that's in there. We open up that bathroom, and there's these things stuck on the wall. Now, this is a guy driving this.
Yeah.
And so you can only imagine what it was. So anyway, we get to the jail with this guy, right? And anyway, we get him in the jail, and we strip search all the people that have drugs on them.
Yeah.
Because they can hide it. Well, when we got him in there and had him disrobe, this device falls out of him.
Oh, goodness.
So Needless to say, I did not reach down and pick it up.
I don't think I would have.
We had somebody else. It was, you see crazy stuff
You
like
do.
that, and I mean, there's just all kinds of
I'll
stuff.
tell you one thing, dude. My keister's an exit only. I know that.
I hear you.
Yeah, and trust me, I know, man. I've been in that situation. I've been in that holding cell, so I know.
Well,
I remember the first time that I ever went to Orange County Jail. It was the pink elephant. Was it pink elephants on the wall?
yeah, used to have some elephants in there. It's no longer there. I mean, the room's still there.
But it's still, I'll never forget it, man. I remember it was over truancy. The school told me if I didn't go to turn myself in, they were going to arrest me at school. And reputation, I didn't want to get arrested at school, so I just went and turned myself in. And I was going to have to sit like 8 days. And I'm in this set, like holding cell, like the one right by the door where the gate or the door opens for new inmates to come in, where they
Sally Port.
there you go, the Sally Port. And I remember that kept me up all night, so it just made me like I was already mad that I was in jail, like, and this guy comes in and like I'll talk to a brick wall if it'll talk back, but back then I would. I'm a little less social than I used to be, but there was this guy in there, and I was telling him, like, man, this sucks. I got to do 8 days. I got to do 8 days, man. This sucks. He goes, I'm going to tell you something, kid. I'm finna do 8 years. So I don't even think you should complain about it. You should be blessed that you only got that many days.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what, man? You're right.
Puts it back in perspective.
It does.
Yeah.
Not everybody in jail is a bad person.
Right.
I'm a firm believer that just people make mistakes, man. Now, if you're making the continuous mistake over and over and over again, that's the definition of insanity, as doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Right.
So you can't just continue to do those things. You have to get away from it. It's death or it's jail. You'll end up deciding that one in the long run.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that I grew up with are gone. A lot of my great friends, and it hurts. And some of them wasn't because of that. I know you remember Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
He passed out hurt. I don't want to speak on too much because it does bring out something of my feelings that I don't enjoy to think about. But yeah, all my day ones are gone, man. Whether they went to prison or they passed away and rest their soul. What sucks the most is when it could have been prevented. Just like when my cousin Derek, the stuff happened with him. That's something that you just don't come back from. And I know my family feels the same way when we go to Thanksgiving, when we have Christmas. It's just something's missing, and it's him. He had a bright soul. He was so good to people. You would have never thought anything was wrong with him. So shout out to men's mental health.
Sure.
Because they deserve it. Just because we have this backbone of like everything's okay and I'm fine, that doesn't mean that I'm okay, I'm fine. Sit down and have a conversation with me after I had a couple beers, then you'll see how I'm doing.
Right.
So, because it's hard for us to open up to people anyways these days. I think I've called you at 2 a.m. sometimes, and you talked to me for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I needed that. And had that not happened, I don't know what would have happened. And this is pre-wife, pre-kids. I was trying to figure out who I was as a man, and I just couldn't get a hold of it. I would get there, and then I'd take 14,000 steps back. So I'm very grateful for where I'm at today, and our community. That's why I love Orange County so much. I don't care what anybody says about it. Everybody in office, everybody in Orange County, we have a way of just coming together during hard times.
Exactly.
Whether it's hurricanes or it's just, when somebody passes away that we personally know, or even if we don't personally know, we show that sympathy for these people.
Right.
And I'm so appreciative for that. So, man, what did you think about the stuff with Trump yesterday?
Man, I really haven't got to, look at a lot of it or listen to a lot of it. I've been pretty busy the last couple of days, but I saw a couple of clips today about it. Man, it's just wild.
It hurt me.
Yeah.
What can I just say? It hurt me.
Well, it don't matter your affiliation, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent or whatever.
Yeah.
This is America.
It is.
And you take somebody that goes out there and tries to take out your possible president, former president. It don't matter if it was Trump or Biden. I mean, man, they're affecting us and our country. And, hey, man, the guy got his...
yeah, he's gone.
He got it,
Yeah, he went to the Neverland, brother. That's where he went. But and I don't wish that on anybody, but I'm glad that he's not out there hurting anybody
Well, you know,
else.
the sad thing about it is, you know, people are cutting jokes on, you know, I saw it today, it's kind of got under my skin. Somebody said, you know, hey, the guy need to practice a little more.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, we had somebody that was killed, a bystander that was killed.
Yeah, they're not looking at that, though.
Yeah, they're not looking at that. And I'm going to tell you, man, I mean, if you do that in America, this is the greatest country out here.
It is.
And, you know, this guy, you know, whether you like him or not, you know, he to me, I think he's a great president. Got to meet him, super good guy. He loves his law enforcement. He loves his military. And I've got the utmost respect for the guy. But again, I'm not going to give somebody kudos for getting out there trying to kill the guy. Man, that's wrong.
It is.
You know.
It really hurt me. And I've became cold to things that are really difficult to watch or see over the duration of my life. But I was working last night, and you know, I always got my Apple Watch on. It tracks everything. And I just seen Trump was shot at rally.
Right.
No explanation. Just Trump was shot. And I was like, man. At first, I'm thinking this is probably a hoax. You know, so I quit everything I was doing. Sorry, Oxbow. But I quit everything I was doing, and I went to the little office that we have in the sample room, and I immediately start looking it up, and it had happened. And I was just like, man. And I watched a Tucker Carlson. Shout out Tucker. I love Tucker Carlson. I would vote for him if he ran. And I'm the Tucker Carlson dude, man. Like, I'll dress up for him for Halloween if you want me to, for sure. But he tells you the truth, which is why he gets fired from every news that's public, right? Great that Elon bought X, and now he has a platform to speak how he wants to speak and do what he wants to do. I think that's part of being American. It's free speech. He was having an interview. I don't know if you've watched the interview between Tucker and Trump. I watch every important interview. I watched like a 4-hour interview between Putin and Tucker too, and Putin doesn't speak any English, so it was being translated through some sort of gear on his ears, which was cool. But when he was talking to Trump, they said, and I posted it on my social media yesterday, they tried to rig the election the first time, didn't work. They tried to impeach him twice in the House, worked, got to the Senate, didn't work. They indicted this man on 32 charges, invaded his home at Mar-a-Lago while his wife was in bed and his son was in bed, took personal documents, didn't work. Tucker said, what do you think they're going to do next? Are they going to kill you? And then that happened yesterday. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. And if you're looking at things from a higher spectrum, I don't believe that this guy even had motive. I think he was just on that side of things that doesn't want to see Donald Trump make America great again. You know? And I'm a firm believer in Donald Trump. I really am. Yeah. I think we had the best economy we ever had in my lifetime, at least. You know? I really like RFK. I think Ronald F. Kennedy. But even now, with the stuff going on with Biden, RFK was supposed to be an independent. He used to be a Democrat for the working man. Democrats used to be for the working man. Now it's kind of changed. You know, Republicans are the people we support, right? So RFK said, well, if you're wanting him to drop out, you don't have to look any further. Well, man, I guess I'm not an RFK fan anymore. Only because that party is going to twist and turn everything you do and make it to their own agenda. And what you said really don't matter. You know? So Trump is our only hope. And that's why I was almost in tears about it when I seen him shot.
Yeah, one thing about it, Trump has definitely faced the fire.
Yes, he has.
I mean, he has from the day that he ran. I mean, from the first time that he ran, he has just faced the fire. You know, he's faced all the critics. But you know one thing about him, whether you like him or not, I mean, the guy's up front. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a fighter. You know, he don't give up. You know, and he's really done good things, I think, for the United States of America.
I think that everybody looks at the one bad thing and forgets all the good. I think COVID hurt him more than anything, and I think it was also part of somebody's agenda for that to happen. Obviously, it was man-made. We came out to the conclusion of that. I think Dr. Fauci lied to us in so many ways, and I don't care to say it publicly because it's public information. You had this guy at an MLB baseball game with no mask on, sitting next to two people while the seats were empty. What else do you need to see? You know, and that's just where we're at. We don't have faith in our government anymore. That's why I say I take so much pride in local officials. You've seen me out there at the community center,
Sure.
with Mr. Matt, and unfortunately he didn't come with a victory at the end of it. But just like you, better things are coming.
Sure.
You know, and I think everybody across the board, when I was there, I really enjoyed talking to all of them. I was unbiased. Just because you're my friend doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to other people have a conversation with me. Because like Mike Sanchez, that guy was awesome, man. He was so cool to talk to. Man, I told him I was sick like 3 days before. I had the flu. And I'm thinking to myself, he probably don't care or whatever. He don't remember. He's, you know, a politician. I was just thinking to myself, when I came out there to the community center, he goes, man, are you feeling okay? The fact that he remembered 3 days prior that I was sick, that's how much faith I have in this community.
Well, you know, he's a man of the people.
Yeah.
You know, he's been here for a long time. I mean, he wasn't bred, born, and raised right here.
Yeah.
But he's been here a long time. He's been a staple in the community. Respectful guy. Let me tell you, man, hats off to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran a good, great, clean campaign, and I respect him. I mean, he's a good guy, and I really like him.
He even had his wife step in at a debate, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you know, I think he had COVID.
He
you
did.
know, and he asked his wife. And let me tell you, kudos to her. She got up and, hey, you had to face fire on that.
Yeah, dude. She ain't Kamala Harris. That's
No,
for
no.
damn
Hey,
sure.
I tell you what, she did really good.
Yeah,
I was really proud of her. She did really good.
I can remember her being a security guard when I was in high school.
Right.
And I don't think I personally gave her hell, but I think she probably got
Well,
some
you know,
hell
that's
from me.
Joey Jacobs' sister.
Really?
Yeah.
God,
It sure is. Yeah.
the circle's small, ain't it?
Yeah, it's small.
So, and Joey was a great guy too.
Great
you know?
guy.
And Joey knew that I was in favor of Matt, but he never acted like that towards me.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know how like, okay, I like Conor McGregor. You might like Dustin Poirier, and I'm just figuratively speaking. I like the underdog 9 times out of 10. But with that being said, he just treated me like he had no knowledge of me, and that was so cool. Just having that conversation with him about his kids, how they're in school, they're graduating. One of them's already working for a plant, I think, as an intern, and he's getting paid while he's at school. I mean,
Yeah,
come on, dude.
Lane Jacobs. He's a great kid.
I
Good
think
fisherman too.
Yeah, oh, man.
Really good fisherman.
I wish I could fish all the time. I don't ever get the chance to. This shift work's killing me. I don't even know what I want to do with my life at this point. But, you know, I'm just making it happen for these babies and this wife
There
of mine.
you go. That's
So,
what you got to do. Get up, step up every day.
yeah. But anyhow, yeah. Well, so is there anything else? I mean, what is in the future? What do you plan to do besides just real estate? Is that what you're going to corner yourself around? Or do you have some other things that you might dip off into? Maybe a security job somewhere? Or maybe, Secret Service?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
mean, my days of full-time law enforcement are probably over with. I'm not going to say I'll never do it again full-time, but right now I'm going to enjoy life. You know, I missed a lot with my family, you know, with them growing up, being a police officer. Like you just said, you work shift work. You know, I was always called out as a police officer, and during the storms when they left, I was here. And, you know, I'm going to enjoy my family, you know, and I started back competitive fishing. And so, you know, I'm doing, quite a bit of that, you know, here lately. But I still got the Sheriff's Department to run, too, until December 31st. So,
sure do,
we're going
man.
to take care of that and take care of the people. And, you know, it's something I've always done. I love taking care of the people here
I
in
think
our
that's
community.
probably what hurt the most. I think that I thought that about you. I think that's what hurt you the most. Is that you love that so much. You love taking care and helping people
Right.
that it won't be there anymore in a short term period of time. And I hate that for you too. But I believe everything that good happens comes from a sacrifice at the beginning.
Right.
You know, everything that good that's ever happened with me, I sacrificed something at the beginning for it to be good in the long term. So I think that you sacrificed 36 years of your life. So, you know, it's your time.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. I know I definitely want to let the people know about the outdoor Mooney, what you're going to be doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mooney Boys Outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that started. A friend of mine, he's got a channel. He does all his kayak fishing. He takes videos of it, and he's doing pretty good with it. And it's just fun. It's a hobby for me right now. I'm not trying to make a living or anything, but it's fun. And I find myself in my kayak fishing these tournaments. And I got these cameras on my kayak, and so I'll be sitting there talking like I'm talking to the people, or you.
Yeah.
And explaining what I'm doing, or if I catch a big fish, it's fun stuff,
Yeah, man.
And people like seeing it, I got a lot of people that watch it, so.
I can't wait to, come with you and enjoy that one.
Oh, yeah.
Man. That's going to be super fun, There's no telling where stuff like this is going to take us.
Yeah, you just don't know. And hey, if I get tired of it, I'll, go on to something else.
You could be my co-host all day.
There you go.
Good.
All right. That might
I-
be another avenue for me.
Yeah, you know my plan. I've already told you for sure. There was something else I wanted to cover with you. We started talking about fishing. There was this man in my life at one point, and we wasn't related. There was no relation. He was just a great guy to me. He taught me how to fish. He taught me how to change my oil. Taught me how to change my tires, my brakes. He taught me all these things that I should have already known. But I was like 24, and I didn't know any of this. And it was during it was the Deweyville flood, whenever the water came up and all that crazy stuff happened. Well, I had some fishing poles in the back of my truck that I had back there for months. I hadn't went fishing, and I had a worm on it. And the sun had bleached that worm into like this really weird-looking fluorescent yellow color. And that morning, he told me, he said, "You're going to catch the biggest fish today." And I was like, "Dude, no, I'm not." You kill me every time. Like, you got to get my hopes up. I tell you not. The only mistake I made was not redoing my line. My lines had became brittle after sitting in the sun all that long. This fish, guarantee at Toledo, if you catch anything over 10 pounds, they'll mount it for you for free. You probably know that. This fish came out the water, and it was every bit of 13 inches long, and it was probably a 10-pounder levitt. This thing was big. I felt like I was bringing in a refrigerator. And as soon as we get it to the boat, the dude that was with the guy that taught me all this had a net. The line broke. I was so sad. I never wanted to fish again. I was like, this was the one.
That's a heartbreaker.
Oh, man, I was hurt because I was trying so hard. I was really, because everything I do, I dial into it. I want to learn it. I want to understand it. And when it comes to nature, you really have to sit down. Even when you're turkey hunting, I know a guy that I call Turkey. I can't find him today. I used to paint with him. I don't know where he's at. Hopefully he's still around. But if he's not, he's probably in heaven shooting turkey. But he can make the turkey sound. And you gotta like almost be nature to do nature. You gotta kind of soak yourself into it. I've never been a hunter. I've never hunted in my life. I've fished a ton of times, even just by myself. I think fishing is very, very therapeutic. And if it could bring peace to my life, then.
There you go.
That's good for me.
Right.
So, and I imagine some of the outdoor things bring
Same
peace
thing.
to yours.
Yeah. That's my time to get right with the Lord, and I spend my time with Him there.
Yeah.
And I'm able to recharge my batteries, so to speak.
You should. I think everybody needs that. So, what you got planned for the week, man? You got anything crazy coming up?
Oh man, I got a busy week already planned this week. It's been a rough weekend. I mean, we've been busy all weekend, so.
Yeah.
I stay busy.
That's what I love about you, man. Even though your circumstances with the department right now, you're still doing the absolute best to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, we got to make sure. Man, I got a great group of guys over there. My chief deputy, Mark Dubose, man, is super good guy, top notch.
Yeah.
And man, he's a great guy. I can't talk, about him as he's just a great guy. Joey Jacobs. He's one of my top guys over there.
I would love to have him on the
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, he's the captain over CID, and man, let me tell you, the sheriff's department is losing somebody with him, but we're going to gain him over here.
Yeah.
In precinct 4. So I mean,
he took a pay cut too.
He did. He took about a $60,000 lick.
That just shows you how much he wants it.
Yeah, he's tried this before. He's run twice before.
Yeah, I knew that.
Came up short. Did better each time, he ran, and, he prevailed this time. And but he's going to be an asset for us.
I think
He's
so,
going
too.
to do really good for us.
With me and the wife selling the house and moving, I just something about moving out of Orange County just doesn't sit right with me.
Right.
You know, and I'm at a point where if I do buy another house, and I am going to, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at what that house, the value, and will bring to my kids, to my wife. I'm pretty self-sufficient. I don't need much, but I want them to have the best of the best. And I think Orange County, even though it started off a little rough for me, has been the best for me. You know.
Let me tell you, we got a great community here. Orange County is a fine place to live. You know, I mean, we have crime just like everybody else.
Of course.
But I'm going to tell you, look around us. You look around us and what's going on. You look at what's not happening here in Orange County.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, we live in a pretty safe environment over here. Again, we do have crime. You know, we do have the crime over here. My guys are out there working every day. I know all the other agencies are out here doing their part.
Yeah.
But that's what makes Orange County safe.
It is.
And I'm going to tell you right now, we have a great county.
We do.
Man, we got our county leaders, man, our county judge, our commissioners, man, they are pro law enforcement, and I haven't had no trouble with them. I mean, we've done a lot of good things because of the leadership over here, you know.
I believe you started a farm at the jail, didn't you, for vegetables and stuff like that?
No, well, I have a farm that, I have a hobby farm at my house, but no, I didn't start it over here.
Oh, I thought I had overheard that you were going to start one over there, and it was going to help save money, obviously, to do other things too.
Well, what we do is I do utilize the inmates.
Yeah.
Chris Frederick, he was my captain over the patrol division, and he had a great idea when we come into office. And he has since retired. He just retired here about a month ago, and boy, I hate to see him leave.
Yeah.
Real good friend of mine. He and I have worked together a long time, but a lot of these cemeteries around here, and they're grown over. It's just nobody's taking care of them. So he had this idea. He said, "Man, let's use the inmates, go out there and help these people get these cemeteries where they can go out and visit their family, that's buried out there. And we'll use the inmates to go out there and do it." So we purchased all this equipment, and we use them, and the inmates love it. Man, when we ask for volunteers, they volunteer. Yeah, man, they're ready because it's helping the community, and it's cleaning and beautifying, these cemeteries around here. And then the family's able to step in and keep them up.
I don't think people understand how much trustees do.
Oh, man,
And I can definitely elaborate on that because I built that carnival twice in Orange.
Really?
And you know what I'm talking about. So we were in Stripes out there, but they fed us good, so I went.
Are you talking about the cops and kids?
The one over there by where Wells Fargo used to be going towards Orange County Jail.
Yeah,
You know how they
yeah.
have that little carnival,
Right.
like maybe, I think it's every year. I built it twice. So that's bad. I was in jail
Oh, no.
both of the times. So.
Well, you got some good experience.
Hey, I won't let my kids get on that ride, but I've definitely built one of them a couple times, and man, but I met some of the best people there. I remember, is Federal still there? Officer
Yeah, he's
Federal?
still there.
I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Great guy.
I would
Great
cook
guy.
him a steak for sure. I
Good
mean,
guy.
he was funny, but he would get on my ass too if I was being an asshole.
Right.
I never tried to be an asshole. There was another guy that was there too. He had glasses. He was kind of a bigger guy. He was super tall. I can't remember his name, man, unfortunately, but he was great too. Even the captain, though. I mean, when I was there, it sucked. I was in jail, but I was still treated so good there because they're not assholes there.
Yeah, and I took a lot of flack over this comment when I was running for re-election again. I look at the people that come into the jail. They're really guests. Most of the people are good people. They've got a DWI or got arrested for a drug charge or whatever. And, they're just there for a short period of time. So why treat somebody bad?
No.
And everybody in the jail, man, they take care of the people that are in there. And, most officers do too, but sometimes being out here, we have to get on their level with them at times, you know what I'm saying? But we try to treat people for the most part, the best we can.
Yeah. Do you know Philip Nolan? He's one of the maintenance guys that used to, back then, and this was a long time ago, but back then, each maintenance guy had one inmate, and they'd drive them around and make them not make them, but, work with them. Well, that's what I mean by people don't really know how much trustees do. Like, Philip had me paint the veterans office down there. I painted it. We put the new laminate stuff on the desk and on the floor, and we just did so much. We was changing doorknobs at the courthouse. I mean, and that guy was so amazing, and I went and seen him a few years after I became, successful and doing good. And I thought the guy was going to cry when he seen me. Because, but he would tell me that.
Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there. Great guy.
Gosh, he was amazing, man. I love that guy. In the situation I was in, he knew it was BS, but he tried everything he could to help me. But there's only so much you can do.
Right.
He could leave me in the truck and go in somewhere 100%. Not that he did, but he would have. He could have.
Right.
He knew I wasn't going to do anything stupid. I do remember, and I thought about this the other day, trustees get paid, but it's not by money. It's like every other Wednesday they get like 5 pieces of pizza and a soda, or is it a bag of chips? Something like that.
Man, that's a big time, though.
Dude, I was happy, bro. I've eaten pizza like, man. But what happened? There's no Mazzios now, so what do they do now?
Right.
What is their payment now? Do they get Domino's?
Oh, yeah, they'll get a little. And every year we have the cops and kids.
Yeah.
We do the Blue Santa program, and I've been working over here for many years at Orange County Sheriff's Department. I started under Huel Fontenot, and I remember Huel having Sheriff Fontenot having the cops and kids, and then also the Blue Santa program. Well, we always utilize the inmates, and again, the inmates enjoy doing that because they get to interact with people, and they get to eat good.
Yeah,
they love coming out there doing that stuff. So, and we love having them out there. I mean, they really do. They work hard. So.
They do. What sucks for the inmates, I think, period. Like, there is things that, like, I feel like they could do a little better as a jail. It's like whenever the hygiene, right? When you get there, I know it would be expensive, but just a little better on the hygiene. They give these guys these little bitty like deodorants that just smell like you don't want it on you.
Cheap.
It's
cheap.
Yeah, and I think it's Bob Barker. God bless. I can't believe I know that, but that's what it is. And then I understand the toothbrush situation. You don't want somebody to have one that's 12 foot long because you can do things with it and hurt someone. But it was just stuff like that. I was fortunate that my family took care of me while I was in there, and I don't regret any of that at all. I'm so happy that I did everything I did at a young age because I didn't do any of it in my adult life, and I've actually became very successful at what my life consists of now.
Yeah, well, I was kind of in the same boat with you. I mean, I come from a great family, and I made things tough on myself. I was always rebellious, and I know my mom, boy, I tell you, I gave her and my dad a fit, and I was real rebellious, and I was an old country boy, and like to do, that kind of stuff, I got arrested. I spent a night over there in Orange County jail.
I remember you posted it the other day.
Yeah. So, anyway, I posted that. Man, I was a kid, and 17, 18 years old. But you know what? The thing about it, you can look at it, it's an educational experience. And being a young person like that and turning your life around, and myself, I mean, I could have went down a harder road. I could have went, I could have probably went to prison or something, if I'd have kept doing the things I was doing, But man, the good Lord had his hand on me.
Yeah.
My mom and dad, they stayed on me, and stuff. And, hey, man, I turned out to be okay, so.
More than okay.
But,
you turned out to be
and
great.
like you, I mean, we cross these paths in our walk in life. And sometimes we can take the wrong road, and sometimes we can take the right roads, so.
I like the right roads these days.
I do too, man. It's a whole lot easier.
Every time I ever took a left, it went bad.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to keep going right. I still make mistakes just like anybody else.
Sure. Oh, man, I do too, man. And that's what I try to teach my boys and show them that I'm 59 years old.
Don't even look like it.
Hey, man, I still make mistakes to this day. But, you have to own them, try to make them right when you can, and then move on down the road, I mean, don't let it haunt you the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. I'm a firm believer, and I let circumstances defeat me for a long time.
Me too.
I remember, God rest her soul, but I had a stepmother, and you probably remember this. She had set our house on fire when we was kids. Me and David, my brother, we were young, and she set our house on fire because she thought my mom and dad were trying to get back together, which wasn't the case. My mom was just trying to let my dad spend time with me, and she threw toilet paper on fire in our bedroom windows and put trash cans in front of the door on fire so where we couldn't get out.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
And it was Rodney Price does. He'll tell you about it.
Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Can't say enough about him. We'd spend an hour.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he definitely, stuff like that altered my life, because I don't think you're supposed to see those things at that young of an age. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, I went through a lot of mental health things because of it. I had to take some medicine to stop my bladder during the night because I ended up wet in the bed and stuff like that for a long time when I was younger, just because I was so terrified of all the surrounding things going on. And I think that's what's brought me my wisdom today. I also had a stepdad who was murdered. And, well, he wasn't my stepdad, but my mom and him were common law married. It's Texas.
Yeah.
His name was Christopher Capps, and he was just a wonderful guy. I'll never forget him. But he had a drug addiction. And some guys threw him in the Neches River over by the saltwater barriers in Beaumont. And I'll never forget the detective coming to the house and opening up that manila envelope, and you could see the fish had ate his eyes out.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like 9. It's like, why am I seeing these things? And my grandmother, she tried so hard, and my mom did too. They tried so hard to protect us from these things, but they just came into our lives, And I'm so grateful that me and my brother, we both turned out so well. And me and him, man, we have such a great relationship. I told him the other day I went and helped him paint a truck bed. And I said, I hope you know I'm not here for the money. Of course I need it, but I'm just happy to spend time with you, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that at all. Like I said, I'm very self-sufficient. I don't need much. But getting to spend that quality time with him and not worry about anything around us for just a little bit, even with working, it just felt so good, man. My brother's been my rock throughout my life.
Yeah.
Whenever my grandmother passed away, he met this woman named Tiffany, who they've been married for several years now, and she's a great woman. And she had 4 children before David. And David took on that responsibility, and I don't care who you are, that just shows what kind of man David is.
Right.
And then they had 3 more. They just had one.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. My niece and nephew, blood related, are Aiden and Amaya, and they're like 12 and 13, I believe. Don't get mad at me, David, if I'm not right on the ages, but they just had a brand new one. Her name's Lily Ann, and
Wow.
gosh, man, she is gorgeous. Just like with my kids, man, I could sit here and tell you all these terrible stories and like be sad and cry and go through these things, but man, the sight of my children complete everything. There's nothing in this world that my children can't help me get through.
Right.
When Nathan passed away, rest in peace to Nathan Reed. He passed away right before Christmas this last December. You were there at the scene. I was sad. It was the first time in a long time that a death made me cry, which is, it sounds cold, but when you deal with so much death, you become numb to it. But Nathan hurt me, and I'll never forget just standing in the same place for the whole time I was there, just like all praying that truck wasn't his.
Yeah.
I knew.
Tragic.
I think we all knew. But you hold on to hope at that point. At least some people do. And I remember all the guys around were wanting to go and have some beers afterwards, and I was just like, I think I lied to him and told him I was going to go with him. And I just came home, and Tina McFarland, do you know who she is?
Mm-hmm.
God, I love that woman. She is a mom away from mom. I text her, even if I ain't seen her in 5 years, I text her every Mother's Day, every Thanksgiving,
Wow.
every Christmas, every holiday. She told me the last time I seen her, I got a heart of gold. She told my wife that. She said my heart was bigger than my body. And I believe it when she said that, because she knows that, like, even that little text message every year means something.
Sure.
Ironically, she called me as I'm going down I-10, and I'm crying, and I can't even see the road. I'm just disturbed, and had she not called me, I don't think that I would have made it home safely with how sad I was. And as soon as I got here, I'll bring it back to my children now. I didn't want Malaya to see me that way, so I come straight into my bedroom, which takes up pretty much this portion of the wall and downstairs. And I just kind of, we have that little thing at the end of our bed that we can sit on and put our shoes on or whatever. And I just kind of laid my head on it. And I was very upset. And my daughter come running in, and she, Daddy, are you okay? And I'm like, no, baby, I lost a friend. He's in the clouds now. You know, he's in heaven. Mm-hmm. And, oh, man, it almost brings tears to my eyes to talk about it right now. But she said, I'm your friend, Daddy. Zane's your friend, Daddy. Mm. And I was like, man, this is why I came home. Because she brought more value than that can ever do.
Right.
I'm very careful on drinking these days. Yeah. I've watched many people that I love just kind of drown themselves in it, and they're gone, or they're on the way to being gone. And I don't want that for me. I wanted to be very cognitive thinking with this interview with you, because I respect you so much to do that.
Well, thank you.
You know,
talking about your buddy there, that was a tragic accident.
Yeah.
It was hard on me. You know, I mean, it's hard. You know, when you see death all the time, and man, it don't hurt to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a close friend, a pastor, chaplain, you know, a professional psychiatrist or something, you know. And let me tell you, I go see one, you know, because I've dealt with a lot of death, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I mean, you need to go get this off your chest. And a lot of times, some of this stuff I wouldn't want to share with my wife, you know, because it is horrific. You know?
That doesn't make you weak either.
Yeah. No, oh, definitely not. No,
you know?
Heck no. Well, I know it don't make me weak. I mean, man, I need it. You
me
know?
too.
And that's what I suggest to the young men and women that are coming into law enforcement, to get that support staff there, a support group. And whether it be a chaplain or a pastor or a psychiatrist,
therapist,
man, I mean, therapist. I mean, you know, go in there and see somebody, talk to them, get some of this off your chest. Don't let it build up, because
people don't understand it stays right here.
You'll drag it around with you all the time.
I've been going to the same therapist since I was 7 years old.
Right.
You know, because you know my life as a, you know, I've talked to you a little bit. So it's same guy, Alan Apperson. If there was anything close to Jesus, it'd be him. You know, he's taught me the way.
Right.
And I love him so much. I think anybody going through mental health issues needs to see a therapist. Get the mindset out that you're weak. You're not freaking weak. You're in pain. Yeah. You're dealing with something. There's trauma. There's grief. Something has happened to make you not be able to function the right way. You know, you can sit here and take vitamins all day. You can take calcium to build your bones. You can grow your hair out and thinking that it's with the universe. You know, you can walk outside barefooted to think that the earth is coming into your body and making you feel well and all these things, but nothing can change trauma and grief unless it's talked about.
Yeah, and you know, it's a good thing to go to a therapist, or like I say, a pastor or whatever. But I mean, man, get it off your chest. Don't walk around with it. It's a heavy burden to tote.
It is.
And especially in our line of work or military, you know, when you see the human body in ways that you shouldn't see a human body, it takes a toll on you, especially when it's the children that you have to deal with in that aspect. And you need to go purge yourself, you know.
Yeah. I just seen on the news the other day that little baby that died, the parents, like, it's only speculation. I don't know what they were doing, but they were obviously out on the boat, and the baby died. Heat exhaustion. I don't know how a parent can take their eyes off of their children like that, period. I get paranoid in one of the greatest neighborhoods in Bridge City. You know, I cannot, and maybe I have trauma. Maybe I have been through so much that I am worried something's going to happen to them. Right. So I got cameras all the way around my house. And I don't need them probably, just to be honest. But it gives me peace. And it does cost a lot of money, but I've always been a firm believer in peace over profits all day long. I'll go broke and have nothing to my name just as long as my kids and my wife are okay. Right. You know, I think I grew up such a hard life that it made me realize that I just wanted to do a little bit different. My mom wasn't terrible. My dad wasn't terrible. Neither one of them were. They are just who they are, you know. And I believe in the 70s and the 80s, that's what parents were taught. They were taught that that's how the discipline in their children is going to determine how they feel in the future and how they act in the future. Now we're at a point where we just throw them a phone, right? So, and that's scary too. So we're either in 20 years from now with Gen Z, we're either going to have really dumb kids, like really dumb humans, or really smart humans that can decode anything. But even before I had my kids, me and my wife vouched to not let them have electronics. What am I going to do at this point, though? You don't know it till you get to it, but they're going to see everybody else with electronics and feel like they're missing out. So it's just like, it's growing pains to me.
Right.
You know, the other day I talked to my therapist about it, and I was super upset that day. And some days I go up there and we just talk about the weather. I go 9 times a month. I'm not afraid to tell anybody. Every cancellation they have, I'm going, as long as I'm off. Sometimes even when I'm not off. I get off work from nights and I go straight there. I told him the other day I got a little aggravated with my daughter because she had lost my phone and I was expecting a phone call. And I let her play with it, and I told her she was never going to get it again, you know. And I probably said it a little louder than I normally would because I don't beat them and I don't whoop them. I might pop them on the butt if they do something, but it's hard for me to do that with everything I've been through. So I felt terrible about that the next day, though. And when I went to talking to my therapist about it, and this is where I can relate with you, you have to speak it into existence or you won't understand it. Because you can sit here and think about it all day, but once you start talking about it, you start putting the pieces together. I had a buddy come from Newcastle, Indiana. I love Indiana probably more than I love any state. And it's crazy because it's just Indiana, you know, and there's a lot of value there, and I'm honored to have family there. But I had a friend named Michael Meddert and his wife. They came to Mexico to do the tubal reversal surgery so they can try to have another baby. And they came here, and of course I gave them the Southern hospitality, put them in a nice hotel, and did everything. But I always in my mind wondered why, when I was in 8th grade, when Rita hit, we evacuated to Newcastle, Indiana. I always wondered in my mind, like, why I just decided to stay there. Like, my mom, my brother, my nanny, all my family just go home. I'm going to stay in Indiana. And I always wonder why my brain did that. I had a girlfriend here. I had a ton of friends that I still talk to today. But I always wanted to know that. And Michael had came early one morning and we went to Dairy Queen because believe it or not, in Indiana, they don't have tacos at their Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen in Indiana is ice cream, period. No burgers, no French fries. And I might be wrong. They might have it in Indy or something. I don't know. But in Newcastle, Dairy Queen is a small, half the size of Mooney Boys Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. And it's just ice cream. So I was like, I got to bring you to Dairy Queen. So me and him go down there. We eat our tacos and stuff. And I got to talking to him about it, and he always wondered, like, man, why'd you move from here? And when he said that, it made me think about it. I was tired of the chaos. I had just witnessed my mom's, what I believe was my stepdad, pass away. My stepmom went to prison for 10 years for setting our house on fire. My mom was battling through things. My dad was battling. They're trying to figure out life, too. They're younger, too. So I just think I just needed to get away. I don't know if that's for sure, but being able to talk about it made me realize that is a good possibility. Because my Aunt Angie, she's my favorite person in the world other than my wife and my kids. I moved in with her. And, man, she had my college ready. She had everything ready for me, you know, because they're just amazing people. I went up there about a year ago. Matt, what do you think? How long ago was we in Youngstown, Ohio? About a year and a half. So I went there. I told them a day prior I was coming to visit them in Indiana. My whole family showed up. That was powerful.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
He's got the master plan.
He's got it, man. I was able to hang out with the Riggs. I call them the Riggs because their last name is the Riggs. They were like a second family to me in Indiana. I hung out with them all day. We did fantasy football. And I'm telling you, I had so much fun. And I have a voicemail on my phone from Keith just saying how sad he is that I got to leave again, and he's going to miss me, and he loves me, and it just makes you feel so good. They just appreciate you so much. Down here, we all live so fast, it's hard to keep in touch. You know, like you, I try to call you at least 2-3 times a month. Just say hello.
Oh, yeah.
Or text you and see how you're doing, you know. But, like, not everybody does that shit. I can show you right now on my phone, I text 13 people at 5:30 every morning and tell them good morning.
Wow.
I hope you have a good day and I love you. Because at 5:30, if something happens to me from that point forward, at least they got that to look back at, you know. I've been in situations where I don't have nothing to remember them by. But there's a shortcut on an iPhone where you can put what you want to say to each person and it sends it at 5:30.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
You know, it's cool, man. Yeah, see, phones, they got us by the balls.
That's it. That's it.
They got us, man. So, man, I've really enjoyed doing this. I'm so glad the wait was worth it.
Oh, man, I've been looking forward to it a long time.
If you want to, you can tell them more about Mooney Boys Outdoors, when we can expect it, the type of people you're wanting to bring on, you know, just anything that you want to tell them. You're more than welcome to take the floor and let them know, because everybody's curious about what's next with Jimmy Lane Mooney.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Mooney Boys Outdoor, it's just not about, you know, hunting or fishing. I've got a small farm, you know, I've got cows and horses and chickens and, you know, all the stuff, you know, so I'm a farm boy. I'm out there working on my farm. So, you know, I'm going to bring things like, you know, repairing a fence or, you know, stuff like that. You know, it's going to be outdoor stuff. But basically hunting and fishing, you know, spending time with my friends and showing the world out there what we do over here in our little part of the world, you know. And I've always been a big outdoorsman, bow hunted. You know, I don't even gun hunt anymore. Me and my buddy Cameron King, man, we've been hunting together a long time. And we do a lot of this stuff. We're fixing to go on a kayak trip. You know, it's going to be a 2-day run down the Colorado River.
What about a podcast on the water? How about that?
Yeah, man, that would be cool. Yeah, hey, I may do that. I have my little cameras and all that out there, you know.
We haven't seen it done yet. We can make it happen.
So, you know, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to throw on the Mooney Boys Outdoors. I'm also going to throw in Mooney Boys Jiu-Jitsu and kind of show some people some self-defense techniques, you know, that I've actually used out here being a police officer.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, things that'll help people, you know, maybe give them an idea, you know, to save their ass out there, you know, or something. So, or at least get away from somebody.
Heck yeah, man. Well, with you making that commercial for your campaign, I'm sure you already have like videographers in place.
Yeah, I've got some things in place. You know, another thing we didn't talk about, I've been working on a book. I've been writing a cop flick. Yeah, it's I'm not going to put the name out there yet, but yeah, I'm working on a book I've been working on for about a year and a half, and I want to finish that. So hopefully, whenever I get through with December, I'm going to allot a little bit more time to that. So hopefully, I can finish. And I'm at about 50,000 words now. So
oh man,
but I'm going to cut a lot of that out once I start. You know,
I tell you what, give me one. It'll sit right here.
All right. You'll be the first one I get.
I better read. I need a signature too.
But it's going to be a good little cop flick. It's about a guy that has faced some hardships as a young man, and he always wanted to grow up and be a police officer, and he almost was not able to. But when he did became the police officer he wanted to be, man, he shined out there. You know, and man, he made a big influence. And some of these stories are true that are in here. Yeah. And some that, you know, from guys that I've worked with, and I've kind of put them into my character. And then some of the things I've experienced, you know, life and death situations, you know, and stuff. And, you know, it's going to be a pretty good little cop flick out there, if you're into that kind of stuff.
I'm excited about it. I think readers are leaders, baby, and I'm here to read. So you can't give me enough knowledge. You guys mad over there. I'm always telling them something new. Right. So I'm excited to read it, and I'll definitely broadcast it here and make sure that everybody knows about it too. So, but yeah, man, I've really enjoyed this. Is there anything else that you would like to
No,
talk
man,
about?
you know, I'm an open book, and anybody's got any questions for me, you know, we talked about a therapist or whatever.
Yeah.
If there's any police officers or anybody out there that needs a good therapist, call me. I'll give you the guy that I talk to. Man, he's real familiar with police officers.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're a police officer and you don't want people to know you're seeing somebody, man, get with me and I'll give you the guy's name and number, because you don't need to be out there toting that heavy baggage, because it'll weigh you down. And, you know, I don't want to see anybody get out there and hurt themselves over
For sure.
something like that. So.
Yeah, because a lot of these police officers, they feel like they don't have an
I've
out.
seen it way too many times. Way
Yeah.
too many times.
And preachers too.
Oh yeah.
Preachers are almost worse than police officers because they think they got to be perfect to the world.
Yeah.
You
Hey, man,
know.
we're not perfect.
Mm-mm.
By far am I a perfect person.
Yeah, we're not even close.
No.
There's only one thing above us, and
Yeah.
that's the man himself. So, you know, and I'm looking forward to walking through them pearly gates. Praise God.
Yes, sir. Amen.
So again, Mr. Mooney, I love it. I love you.
Oh yeah, man. Love you, brother. Hey, thank you. I'm glad we were able to do this tonight. Holler at me anytime. I'll be more than happy to come out and visit again. Bring your podcast to jiu-jitsu, shoot you some video or something like that of you training. So.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah,
As long as you're there.
I'm probably going to be there tomorrow night. I won't be there Tuesday night. I have another obligation.
I go
have
back to work
attend
Tuesday anyways.
And but Friday I'll be leaving for the Sheriff's Association. This will be my last conference, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be my last big hoorah there. So we'll get it done. You know?
And before we end this, what do you think's going to change with Bobby?
Man, to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, he's a good guy. You know, he's a good officer. But I have no idea.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. You know, but everybody makes their own changes.
Yeah.
Some are pretty popular. My changes were not. You know, and I took a beating for it. But hey, man, I did the right thing, and it needed to be done. So.
The Roman Empire wasn't built in a day.
There you go. And again, I'm not perfect, but I saw a vision, and for the sheriff's department, and let me tell you, it's running like clockwork right now.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Orange County, and I can honestly tell you, I've seen 2 major crimes happen out here in like the 6 years I've been here. It was right down the road. A guy robbed that was coming from Louisiana, robbed a little store, the Raceway, and then there was a doctor who had a wife who was like a nurse practitioner. She was cheating, and he found out, tied her up. She got out the house, shot her, and then
I was there.
Yeah, okay, so you know, it's like those are the only things you see out here, though. It's not. It's very closed off. That's why I'm so scared to move out of Bridge City. But you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to move out of Orange County. I'm praying to God that He just throws a house at me that's out here somewhere nice. But if
The
y'all got
good
a house,
Lord's going to put you where He wants you.
yeah, somebody buy my house so I can buy another one out here.
Yeah.
So, but I love you, man.
Hey, love
and,
you, brother.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.